Hey y'all, Hunter here. Welcome to episode 1 of Pokemon: The Secrets of Fusion, a fanfiction I'm writing while I'm putting out my main series books that aren't related to Pokemon. If you want to check those out or want to know when the Pokemon episodes are being put out, check my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for schedules, announcements, and videos of the like. I hope everyone enjoys. I definitely enjoy writing it, so expect more. And let's get on with the episode. Part 1. Who are you? When lightning strikes, they say there's something watching you listen for the thunder. The cacophony of voices and shouts was muffled by the heavy factory door Cade and Krogunk sat in front of. The railing Cade leaned on was rounded and covered with paint that had long begun to chip. Smelling the cool air that funneled through the back alleys, his stomach growled at the passing scent of a bakery a few streets away. Beneath Cade and aside the concrete platform that presented the factory door, Krogunk examined a box, listening to the sound it made when he lightly tapped the side. Producing a cigarette from behind his ear, Cade lit it, taking a long drag before the door and subsequently the noise from inside both came crashing through the peaceful hum of the rain. Cade certainly could not remember when his life became dictated by greasy old fight managers, but here one was. Dark shades, big round belly, gold watch, the works. All it meant, despite the stench of bad liquor being blasted his way, was that his wait was over, and it was time to fight. Krogunk hopped onto Cade's shoulders, and the pair walked in. Having the old town factory seemed like it would entail a bit more room to walk, but from the moment that he passed through the door to the moment he arrived to the wooden fence that outlined the ring, it was nothing but bumps and struggles to walk. Everyone decorated themselves as if to compete in standing out. Piercings and torn clothes, crazy and colored hair, tattoos, and even nicer things like jewelry sloshed together in a jumbling mass of excitement, rage, and an overwhelming need to scream. They were excited to see Cade's glare and the Krogunk who punched the air atop his shoulders hyping up the crowd. The only thing Cade could see, though, was the ring. It was empty, a glowing orange from the light hanging above, but it looked just like Payday. The residue of past fights and no cleaning crew lined the floor, and it looked just like food for Krogunk. The splintered wood of the fence with duct tape repair jobs were of course familiar, yet it was exactly the shape of the remainder of rent for the month. Nowhere in that ring, though, could he find food, a trip to the movies, or a reason to leave. Because at the end of the day, Cade loved battling. It wasn't his parents' job at the daycare, nor was it particularly profitable, but there was nothing in the world that could make him breathe this well. Nothing he could find that was so intoxicating and real. He met people on a level even their own family couldn't know them. He met Pokemon in a state that people he kept pushing through envied. Each time Cade went to save up to move to a region with gym leaders and an Elite Four, there was always something to drain it away. Those were all thoughts that circulated Cade's mind as he finally reached the wooden gate. Having the other half of the crowd now know he was there spawned a new wave of cheer, along with another one shortly after, when tonight's opponent also reached the gate. Normally, it would be some showboat old guy who wanted to scare Cade by playing crazy. Acting crazy and being crazy are very different things when you've seen the latter in its truest form. However, this was neither a performer nor an older guy with too much confidence. This was, well, a really snobby-looking kid a few years under Cade's age. His shoes were clean, his jacket had no wrinkles in it, and his hair had a shine unlike that of grease or too much product. He was focused, eyes filled with attitude, but still focused on Cade specifically. Sometimes his glare darted to a spot in the crowd, maybe a coach, but would always end up back onto Cade. Cade hopped the fence while his opponent for the night gently opened the gate. With both parties in the ring, there was only one thing left to do. There was a light that shined off Cade and Krogunk that enveloped them, mixed, and in a flash and bang, a swell of purple smoke emerged and crept across the ring and crowd. Emerging from this was the fusion of Cade and Krogunk, sounding off something between a scream and the chirping-like cry of Krogunk. It looked more human than Pokemon. Keeping the predominant features of both, Cade's cheek had large orange spots that inflated and squeezed out noise. His arms were longer, with powerful hands made for unleashing powerful striking moves. Teeth that were more plates than any normal person had. His eyes looked like Krogunk's as well, and both legs splayed out in a crouching stance. The fusion also had a mix of their attitudes. A calm and playful display of stances began that read as an overconfident taunt, bouncing back and forth with a smooth, albeit cocky, collected grace. The ripped jeans and hoodie Cade wore were still there, now draping like curtains over a thin, flowing frame. His dense mass of hair, however, had been replaced by a smooth scalp. The roar of the crowd was deafening. Drums of war were jealous of the percussion displayed on the ring's wooden fence, arms and fists waving wildly across the entire perimeter. Somewhere up high, a Zubat cheered, and towards the center of the crowd's width, a Charmander sent flames flying. On the other side of the ring, Cade's opponent never flinched or wavered. With a tight jaw, they looked down to their side, where a shining new figure appeared. First, their knife-like hands curled around the opponent's leg as its red body showed more of itself. Eventually, a Pawniard appeared, even though it seemed to be trying to hide, even once fully out from behind their trainer. Music began to blast from a Noivern's ears with various cables in its mouth. A steady sound of shock and awe replaced panic excitement for a long few beats, most patrons having never even seen a Pawniard before. Pawniard and the Snob both put out a set of DNA splicers. Using them at the same time, they couldn't fuse naturally like Cade and Krogunk, but that didn't mean anyone would miss their first time seeing a Pawniard fusion. That's it for episode 1. I hope everyone enjoyed. Look out for episode 2. Parts are released on Wattpad, and audios are released on YouTube and Spotify every Friday. Thank you for listening, and this has been Pokemon: The Secrets of Fusion.